An important aspect of adhering to the FAIR data principles concerns data sharing and data reuse, which is an important overlap with the aim of open data. A good data management plan has a specific section where you describe how you will facilitate data sharing and reuse. When disseminating your data, you need to think about who would be interested in your research findings and how to reach this audience. In research, it is common to highlight your findings by newsletters, through a community website, attending seminars or conferences, or through social media. A way that your data can be shared and reused following the FAIR data principles is publishing them in a data repository. Here you can see an example of such a repository, namely the repository of the 4TU Center for Research Data. As stated on the website, 4TU Research Data provides an archive for long-term access and curation of research datasets with a focus on data from science, engineering and technology. The archive went live in 2010 and since then has been managed as a service for researchers from universities around the world to deposit and share their data and for other researchers to download and use data in their research. One of the advantages of using a data repository is that it may provide support and services for data sharing, such as experts who help you make the dataset that you intend to share compliant with data protection legislation, and who can give suggestions to improve the metadata of your dataset, which increases the findability of your dataset. You can also draw attention to specific datasets by describing these in a data journal, such as GigaScience or Scientific Data. These journals publish an in-depth description about a dataset without drawing research conclusions. Among other aspects, this type of publication describes the way in which the data were produced and they suggest potential applications of this data. Through such data publications, you could avoid duplication of research efforts, and your data may be effectively reused by someone else. And of course, they will cite your data publication. Now, when facilitating the reuse of your data, you need to think through how you want others to use your data. If you want your data to be as widely used as possible, the Creative Commons Attribution License, or CC BY, would be most useful. This license lets others distribute, remix, tweak and build upon your work, even commercially, as long as they credit you for the original creation. Some data repositories have licenses that depositors must grant as a condition of deposit. For example, when depositing to 4TU research data, you must agree to the terms and conditions specified in the deposit license agreement. This is a legal document which sets out your rights and responsibilities as depositor and 4TU research data as a data distributor. Sometimes a data repository allows you to choose between different access conditions, namely open access or an embargo period. The full open access option in the suite of the Creative Commons data licenses, CC0, implies that there are no additional restrictions on access to the data or publication of results. Many universities and also journals and funders increasingly stimulate researchers to provide open access to research data. Finally, you want your data to be easily shared and found, and you may also want people to refer to your data. One important thing to do then is to provide your data with an identifier. An identifier is a reference number or name for a data object. The emerging identifier standard for publicly available datasets is a Digital Object Identifier, or DOI. This is a type of persistent identifier, or PID, since it is a long-lasting reference. As with journal articles, DOIs can now also be assigned to datasets. Some repositories arrange this for you, since they automatically assign a DOI to a dataset that you make available. As a result, your dataset can be easily shared, discovered and cited. When data are publicly accessible with a proper license and a persistent identifier, they can be cited, and such citations can result in credits for the research that has been done. For the researchers who have done the work opening up research data, this could lead to increased visibility. Open access to research data also encourages the reuse of these resources by other researchers for reasons of efficiency, transparency, and trust. It enables peers to replicate specific analysis or to validate the claims that have been made about this data in publications, and it might lead to increased trust of society in science. In cases that you need to maintain the data in a repository but postpone access to the data until, for example, you have collected more data, you can request that an embargo period is imposed on your data. This implies that your data is not accessible up to the date that you specify. Some repositories have a maximum period of non-accessibility of data, for example, up to a maximum of 2 years. Another reason for imposing an embargo period may be that you first want to analyze the data yourself, or that you want to publish your findings in a research article before others can access and use your data. These are all good arguments for making a certain decision. For every dataset that you want to preserve or publish, you need to weigh the arguments for and against choosing the open access or embargo option.